Hi guys, in today's review we'll be looking at a brand new steam locomotive from Rapido UK. And that steam locomotive is the Great Western 15Xx class. And I have picked an unusual livery one. I have picked the National Coalboard Maroon. The product code you need for this is 904006. The eras I believe are Era 5, Lake Crest BR, and Era 6 BR Corporate Blue pre-tops. And this has been around or announced for 2 years ago-ish. And it's a really heavy model. I think the tanks are die-cast. And I got mine from Rails of Sheffield. And I'll tell you the price at the end when I give my opinion. So let's get into the detail, shall we? Let's see if it's a good loco or not. Starting off at the detail bag and the instructions you get with this model. In the detail bag you do get some fireman tools. You also get some water filler caps for the tanks because that's where the screws are. You get some chain links, you get some front steps, I believe, steam pipes and vacuum pipes, and a few other stuff in there as well. On now to the booklet or the owner's manual. You do get the usual history of the class. You also get about your model being boxed and what's in the detail bag. It also shows you where to add these parts if you want to add the detail parts to your locomotive to customize it. We also have stuff about servicing your model, what to do if it overflows the lubrication or the oil you use. Also, it should be a silent operator and stuff like that. Also, if it's a DCC operated as well, how to chip it as well. It looks pretty easy. Like I said, you have to take 2 screws off the tanks to get into it. It looks fairly straightforward. We also have how to sound fit it and all. We have a sound list. It tells you what they do as well. Then the next page, it also tells you about any parts that are missing, damaged, what to do, you contact them. And also as a limited lifetime warranty as well. On one of the final pages, we have an actual picture of a locomotive as well. And then we also have a really tiny exploded diagram, which if you want a bigger one, you can download it off the website. I just wish they'd give the bigger one, if I'm honest with you. Then the last 2 pages are a front and back view of a prototype of the model in real life. 1500, I believe the loco is. And then on the back it's got the instructions or the addresses where to go if you've got any issues. Moving now on to the front of the locomotive. The front of the locomotive, we do have a small NAM coupling, which is already applied to the front and back. We also have some irons to knock stuff off the tracks as well by the looks of it. We do have metal sprung buffers. And they're quite softly sprung, but they are metal and they are sprung. I'd prefer the models not to have sprung buffers, personally. Moving along, we do have the buffer beam and housing in a red. We have quite a few rivets across the buffer beam. We also have a few holes for the detail parts as well. And if you look at either side, you can see the front steps too. Moving on up, it looks like we have some lamp irons. I think there are 3 of them. We also have some bracing as well. You can also see the side view, you can see the steam pipes going down as well. Looks like we have a separately applied smoke box dart and a black handrail at the top and a chimney as well. There's nothing else picked out here at all. We also have a lamp iron near the chimney as well. And we move now on to the side of the locomotive. Both sides of the locomotive to me are exactly the same, apart from I believe the other side has the reversing rod there, but I think it's in plastic. I think it's just under the tanks as well. But on this side we do have the livery of the locomotive, which is in the National Coalboard Maroon livery. It's quite a basic livery, that's why I picked it. This side does have a scuff on one of the tanks. Hopefully I will pick out a picture now and it should show it. So there's no lining or anything on the tanks. What we do have is drain cocks on the cylinders. We also have some red rods as well. Where the rods are, there's some plastic work going on there too. Looks like we have most of the axles covered up in black, and we have black wheels as well. This model is pretty heavy, so I think most of the body is die cast. We also have a few steps on the tanks as well. Moving along to the driver's area, this is number 1509 in the fleet. The doors are already applied. We also have some steps as well. We have a few steps going up to the coal bunker, and then at the top of the driver's bit we do have a door that is a little stiff, but it does move backwards and forwards to help the crew look at if they need to. As we now move on to the part most people look forward to in a review, and that is the cab details. This being a small tank engine, it does have everything in there painted, but I can't seem to get any good photos of it. We do have a flickering firebox going on DC and fitted as well. It's more of a glow on fitted, but they are there and it's a premium thing for a modern day locomotive. We do have 2 side doors that move Again, on the inside they do have writing on there warning the drivers about leaning out the windows. Hopefully there should be a picture now coming up. We also have on the back, we also have some cream colours on the cab roof and walls. We have glazing as well on the front and back. I'm not sure if it's a bar or individually. As we move now on to the back of the bunker of this locomotive, we do have a small NEM coupling already applied with some iron to knock stuff off the tracks. I think they are plastic. We do have metal sprung buffers. Like I said before, they are lightly sprung, not too hard or anything like that. And they are painted black. The housing and the buffer beam itself is in red. I think the buffers themselves do have a foothold for the crew to climb on. We also have 3 lamp irons. We have handrails. We have 3 steps in the centre. We have, I think it's 4 hooks for tools, I believe, or buckets for the firemen. We have a curvature with lots of rivets on there, and then at the top we have the glazing for the cab, to look inside the cab with some sort of like bars going across. But what I will say, on my model, down the right hand corner as you look at it now, on the buffer beam, there is some paint missing off some of the rivets and off the buffer beam itself. It's a little bit of a letdown, but these things happen. I just thought I'd mention it. As we now do an aerial view on top of this heavy tank engine, the coal load itself isn't too bad. You can also see a half moon thing hanging out the cab, which I think is for the firemen. We also have another lamp iron applied at the back of the bunker as well. Again, we have doors at the back to help the coal go through. The vent on top does not move. We have a tiny handrail. We have rain ducts in a V shape, again in maroon red, with a few rivets dotted around. As we move on to the whistles I believe are plastic, but looking at them they could be metal, I'm unsure. They are picked out. All the rest in here, all the pipework is in maroon. Again, we have glazing at the front with one of the bars going across the firebox, I want to call it. Mine does have quite a lot of glue marks on it. We also have a few washout plugs as well. I'm not sure if the glue marks are just one side or both sides. We also have a safety valve bonnet, again picked out in maroon. We also have a aerial to test the water to see if it's full or not, I guess. We do have some piping which looks to be moulded. We do have these removable water filler caps to get to the screws for taking the body off. So they are separately applied. And each 4 corners of the tank we do have some hooks for chains which do look to be separately applied. And then we have another one of them cross rings. Again, mine has a little bit of glue on it. As we head towards the chimney, just where the red ends, mine does have a gash on it, a little black gash. And when you get to the chimney, you have lots of rivets, and then you have, I think, a superheater and handrails. You also have handrails on the tanks as well. And finally, as we do an underneath look at this tank engine, like I said before, we do have the small NEM couplings at either end. We do have some sanding pipes. We also have the springs or the suspension on the inside of the wheels, which is interesting. We do have the brake rigging already applied. I believe there's 4 screws to take off the base keeper plate, and I believe by the looks of it, and I can't seem to get a good photo, we do have bearings in there. Again, you can see these red rods dotted around and some piping under the cab as well. And then we have 2 lots of steps by the looks of it underneath the cab as well as the front lot. So under is pretty detailed. Yeah guys, that's it on the track. Next up will be the usual points and second radius. It should do second radius because it's quite a small locomotive. So here goes, shall we? It's not too bad. We're looking at 35. Let's see if we can come backwards. So yeah, we managed to points test, and the second radius pretty well actually. It's quite a heavy loco, like I said, so it's probably got the weight and the traction to do it. Next up will be some slow speed, and I'll find it a train to pull, and I'll see you at the end. So here goes. It's quite impressive. That's better than last time. That's 20. Yeah, this is DC's silent version. That's quite good actually. Better than it was on the points in second Regis anyway. So yeah guys, that's the end of the review and the running session. All it had was a random mixture of plank wagons and a Rapido toad at the back. I thought it suits it. Like I said, the reason I got this one was because it's an unusual livery. It's different to the rest of the National Cardboard locos I have. So I was really unsure what to run with the model, but it looks okay to me. Before I get on to my opinion, I will tell you where I bought mine from. And I bought mine from Rails of Sheffield before I got banned for £127.50, which seems to be okay. This tank engine is pretty heavy. It's the heaviest one I've got. It's more heavier than the 94XX by Bachmann. You can also buy this direct from Rapido if you want to. It's a little bit more there, but Rapido is £149.95. I believe the other model shops are the same as Rails of Sheffield as well. Let's get on to quality control issues, because I have to be honest here. We have glue marks on the top of the tanks. We have a scuff on the tanks. We also have a mark on the end of the red bit near the chimney, and we also have a missing paint bit on a few of the rivets at the back of the buffer beam on the back of the bunker. So there's one more which I'll show now. And that is, in reverse, it sounds like a wind-up clock, and it slows right down on the bends near the points. So here goes, let's show the clip. So yeah, hopefully you heard that in reverse on the clips I've just shown. It's a little bit iffy. I have spoken to a few other people and they have the same issue in reverse, so there could be a problem with the model as a whole. For the money we pay for today's locomotive, I could be wrong, but it really should be perfect in every way. We're paying high cost money for these, and the motor issues in reverse, I think it's a motor issue in reverse, shouldn't be happening. The glue marks shouldn't be happening. Paint marks, scratches should not be happening in my opinion. I could be wrong here, I do apologise. Let's talk about the good things of the model. It's very heavy, like I said, it's probably the heaviest tank engine I have. It has some good detail, so it has sprung buffers, it has a glow in the cab, which you can only just about see. It is quite a bright glow, if I'm honest with you. There also is wood flooring in the cab, but the cab's so small to look through, I can't seem to get any decent pictures. It would have been better if Rapido didn't put the doors on, I guess. And there's another one which I'm unsure about. I believe they're doing detail for the sake of it, and that is the warning signs inside the cab doors, which themselves and cab doors that slide are a bit stiff. You're only going to know that if you look really closely. When it's going around, are you going to notice there's a sign there? No. I'd rather the manufacturers do a reasonable good job, get all the glue marks gone and get the scratches gone, instead of putting details where no one is going to see them, if I'm truly honest. It's very quiet going forwards, super quiet. It can pull more than this. This is half of my layout from the train to the guards van. It matches half of my board basically, so it's quite a heavy locomotive. It can pull, doesn't have traction tyres. The main question now I've got to ask, is it worth the money? If you get a perfect one, yes, it's worth the Rapido, it's worth the Rails money or the model shop's money, yes. If you get a iffy one like mine, no. I will be sending this back to Rails of Sheffield for a replacement, even though I'm banned. But I had to show the faults of my model to tell people there might be a few faults out there. I know there's a few other people that have more faults than I do, because I spoke to them, and I can't really review a perfect loco on the third time of getting a replacement, go, hey, these are perfect, when they're not. Which, if you don't believe me, go and check out other channels. They have it. They may not call the manufacturers out for the issues, they may cover it up. But for me, I need to call them out because this needs to improve. And if we don't call them out, it ain't going to improve. But if you can find a good one, yeah, they're worth the money. Superb model. I am sorry that mine has issues. I hope you liked the review. Please take care and goodbye.